Joseph Big Joey Massino, first ex-NY mob boss turned rat, dead at 80. Written by Emily Crane from the New York Post. Now, this is an old story from last month. I'm just catching up on my stories. Salute to Joe O that told me about this story. Former Bonanno crime family boss Joseph Big Joey Massino, the first head of one of New York's 5 mob families to ever turn rat, died earlier last month after battling a short illness. Massino, who ran the Bonanno family with an iron fist from 1991 to 2003, died at a rehab facility in the New York City area on September 14th. The ex-mob boss, who sent shockwaves through the organized crime world when he became a federal witness nearly 2 decades ago, had been battling a number of health conditions, including diabetes and obesity, in the leading up to his death, the sources said. Massino broke the sacred vow of silence and began talking with the feds immediately after he was convicted in 2004 for orchestrating a quarter-century's worth of murder, racketeering, and a slew of other crimes as he rose through the ranks of the vicious family. For those of you that are mob story listeners, you know I would usually say desgraciado, but we never on this platform talk ill of someone that has passed away. He punched his ticket. He was what he was when he was alive. We know what he was. He's no longer alive. The accounts are cleared. Never talk about people who pass away in an ill manner. He had been handed a life sentence over the bloodshed, which included the slayings of 3 rival mob captains and the execution of a mobster who had vouched for FBI undercover agent Joseph D. Pistone, who used the name Donnie Brasco in the 1980s. Brasco's infiltration became the subject of the hit 1997 film Donnie Brasco, starring Johnny Depp and Al Pacino. Massino had to forfeit his mountain of bloody loot in the wake of his conviction, including $7 million in cash and more than 250 bars of solid gold that he stashed in the Howard Beach, Queens home where he lived with his wife and 3 daughters. The Canary ended up spending 12 years in a cage before a Brooklyn federal judge ruled in 2013 that he could be released from jail as a reward for cooperating with authorities after testifying against fellow gangsters, including his Bonanno successor, Vincent Vinny Gorgeous Bastiano. Quite simply, Mr. Massino may have been the most important cooperator in the modern history of law enforcement to prosecute the American mafia, Judge Nicholas Garufis said before springing him loose. Already ill by the time he was released, Massino was subsequently given a new identity in the Witness Protection Program. He had been living in Ohio for some time prior to his death. After arguing for his early release, his lawyer at the time, Edward McDonald, told the judge that Massino had reflected on his mob life during the time in jail and wished he could turn back the clock. If he had to make a decision again, if he was 18 or 19 years old, he wouldn't go into the mafia, McDonald said at the time. Massino was born and raised in Queens. Salute. Entered the organized crime world in the 1970s when he became associated with mobster Philip Rastelli, who eventually became the boss of the Bonanno family. He was inducted into the mob in 1977 and became a captain 2 years later. In 1981, he helped facilitate the slayings of 3 rival captains, Philip Giacconi, Alfonso Indelicato, and Dominic Trinchera, who were suspected of trying to overtake the Bonanno family. Massino ended up serving time in the federal lockup in the 80s. While heading up the mob family, Massino simultaneously ran legitimate businesses across the Big Apple, including a Queens business shop, catering companies, and Italian restaurant. There you go. The life of Joseph Big Joey Massino, gone. So salute to Joe O last month that told me that he passed away. I just never got a chance to it. But again, Joe O gets all the props for letting me know. Big Rich, Queens, New York City, where we get busy. Top Dog Sour Diesel. Bless the atmosphere. Make sure you wiped your feet on the rug when you came in. We will talk soon. Salute.